Rep. Mary Morrissey. Drip, drip, drip. Fill my cup, Lord, run it over. Give me love, give me joy, give me peace. Oh, 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 fill my cup. Lord, run it over. I am your child in need. Oh, oh, oh. Lord, I need you to fill my cup. By Andrew Ripp. I was elected to the Vermont House of Representatives in November of 1982. I walked into the chambers in 1983 and was immediately struck by the beauty of the place. It was like walking into a museum. It was hard to believe that this was going to be the place where I would work for 6 years. I had great reverence and respect for the building and those who were chosen by their peers to join me. That doesn't necessarily mean that I was going to agree with all of these folks, and there may very well be some that I didn't particularly care for, but I did respect them for being there, because it's a true honor to serve. Like anywhere else in the world, there are some good people who serve in the House and Senate, and there are some not so good people. There are some who are humorous, most of them, and a few who are rather dour. The session prior to my arrival witnessed a dead man win his race for re-election. 9 days prior to the election, Representative Sergio Pacetto of Barrie passed away. The voters re-elected him just the same. Yeah, Vermont is a quirky state, mostly because of its people. And some are quirkier than others. Yesterday's top story in 7 days was a real eye-opener. Now, Bennington has had some truly colorful characters that the voters have sent to Montpelier, not the least of which was my old friend Tim Corcoran Sr. His son is currently serving in the House. Tim was a master prankster, and those who knew him were careful not to rankle him for fear of some goofy, harmless prank. My first winter in office, we were confirming judges, which requires a joint session of both the House and the Senate. There was a lot of downtime, which would usually lead to something innocent like sending a note to a freshman saying the governor wanted to see him. Sure enough, a new naive House member got a note and went to see the governor, who didn't even know who he was. Moments later, the glass doors flew open and we were treated to a very red face, eyes darting left and right, trying to determine who wrote this note. We all looked at the floor. He had been pranked. And pranks are fine when there's no real harm done. However, the representative from Bennington, Mary Morrissey, has crossed the line from pulling a prank to doing something that was quite mean. She's allegedly and repeatedly poured water into a travel bag full of clothes belonging to another Bennington representative, Jim Carroll. I know Jim, and he's a good man. Like the rest of us, he's not infallible. I read the story and wondered aloud, what the heck has gotten into Mary Morrissey? This is not a prank, but a rather nasty and ridiculous thing to do. What was the point? Clearly, she doesn't care much for Rep. Carroll. She never really cared much for me either until I became the director of the Better Bennington Corporation. During my time in Bennington, I could count on her to show up at each and every event that we put on, sometimes to volunteer, but most of the time to make sure that she was in the front row when the press cameras went off. Now, I had no problem with that. I've often told folks that the most dangerous place for them to be is between me and a TV camera, so I did understand and appreciate her desire for recognition. But what I don't get is why someone who has spent nearly 3 decades in the State House would think it's a good idea to repeatedly pour water on a colleague's clothes. If it wasn't meant to be funny, what was the point? In her mind, did she decide that she so disliked Rep. Carroll that it was appropriate to saturate the items in his bag? What kind of person purposely and repeatedly, secretly saturates someone's bag of clothes? There are multiple videos of her doing what is alleged. Why would Rep. Morrissey seek out Rep. Carroll? Did she enjoy tormenting a colleague knowing he's had some recent troubles? This is not normal behavior. The voters of Bennington should expect more from their elected leaders than hurtful and infantile antics. Most people would find this display of poor judgment unacceptable. It's election season, a time when candidates will say or do just about anything in hopes of getting elected. Her actions are so bizarre that the people should think twice before voting for her for another term. Maybe this is what happens when you spend too much time in that building. It's sad that she would throw away an otherwise impressive career over some misguided dislike for a fellow Bennington representative. Could be that maybe there's something in the water. Who knows? I'm Bob Stannard, and this is The View from My Place.